Hey there, you beans that are into animating stuff, I guess. I just say hello here, 5 months after the first recordings on this video here. I will definitely sorry in advance for many things that go wrong, and you might ask why not just cutting out everything where something went wrong, because that would be a lie. If you do something in game engines with 3D stuff and on computers, all the time stuff will break, stuff will not go well, and it is your task to find out what happened and how to fix that. So I kept the things in to show you that it's just totally normal. And everything worked in the end, yeah? Speaking of the end, if you make it up to the end of this video, yeah, heckin' long, I will tell you a secret about eye movement. Timestamps, by the way, in the description. If you search for something special. If you search for something special, look in the mirror. Today I want to tell you something about basic animation rules, kinder. When you want to animate anything, you have to know how a character in kinda every software or game is built up like. Because it is like with learning programming. If you learn your first programming language, everything is new and can also be difficult. But once you did that, you kinda also understand other programming languages. It's like when you learned to speak your mother tongue, you already have knowledge about how a language is working, and you can adapt that to others. It is also with game engines. Once you understood one, you can also guess others. And let's see, we have here basic blend, basic paint, just to show you this here, these underlying structures is kind of the bone chain of an avatar, and that is usually always comparable, starting with the base of the avatar, often called root, will be about between the legs. For example, if you want to move the whole avatar itself, that moves the root. It is kind of like a tree hierarchy. Imagine branches getting out of a tree, growing there. We'll start then from here with this. This is, it is sometimes called pelvis, hips, and from there you see that we have 2 bones to each side, what will be like hip left and hip right, from the avatar's side, kinder, if the avatar is now looking at us. And here you have like upper leg 1, lower leg, or right instead of 1 would be way easier to describe it like that. Here you have spine bones. Yeah. Here could be like a belly bone and another, if you want to make the belly wiggle or so. Up here could be like breasts, if you have a female avatar that needs physics there. And then going up here, and from here you have like, these are the shoulders, the upper arm, the lower arm, the hand, and then single finger bones, if your character needs that. A 2D character in a game that is kind of in which the camera is far away maybe don't need single finger bones. Here you have like a neck bone, the head bone, and it is always kind of the same and working like a real skeleton. If we look here in an animation that I already made with an Anubis character, there we see the basic of all animations usually is the character is usually in a in a pose that is like an A or a T to show everything of the avatar. More easy when you build it up in, for example, Blender. And also it is bilateral. So you have it kind of mirrored from all sides, because you just have to model one side of an avatar and also mirror the other side. So this is the base, and you could keep it like that and create new animation tracks if you want to change that, to alter that. I wouldn't really pose the avatar out of animations, because then you have always a clean start. For example, here on the throne, now this Anubis is chilling on this throne, and we can play it, and you see that the cloth is moving while the legs, feet are moving, sometimes a finger twitching, ear twitching, yeah. Because usually what's going on is that character would move much of it and not just a single bone, a single arm. Everything would be kind of a bit in motion if you want to spend more time animating in general. And it makes even sense to split up different animations to different layers of that. So, for example, a twitching of the ear or a blinking with the eyes, if the character is able to do that, could be on one layer that is repeating itself. Doesn't matter what else is happening. So you don't have put that to every other animation then, when this is the base. If this avatar doesn't do much more than just sitting there, then you maybe don't need to split up. But because there are not many animations here, that might just fit. So I want to show you why is that looping, and you don't see really the cut of the loop. This is definitely something that is important to know how to achieve that. Usually you have a blend. You have here an animator that blends between different, when it goes from the entry in the orange colored box, what is the default, in which is the idle, that will automatically on start animate the character doing this idle. Idle is kind of a pose that shows you the avatar is not dead. It is alive. I bet you remember those old games in which avatars are kind of wiggling. For example, if you take a look on this avatar I just googled here, Akara, from a game 25 years ago. Very pixelish. And you see that the character is always wiggling kind of a bit up and down, just a tiny bit. And this little alteration of the pose of the avatar standing there is the reason we see it's alive, because this is mimicking breathing. And this is a thing why we do these idle poses, to give life to characters. When something from outside happens, it can give a parameter like this jump here. Then we have a jump to another state, and if it stops to be active, jump false, then it will go to again another state and back to the main state, for example. You can go as detailed as you need that here. And you see here the keyframes. Keyframes are these little dots that sets changes on avatars in the list to bones, to transforms of those to the left. That can be a rotation, that can be a change in the transform in general, to the location. That means usually you would just use the rotation, because bones don't really move. The character can move, yeah? So you see that the pelvis, it would be better to animate the root of the avatar would change where it is, but bones usually stay in place. They don't scale, they don't move. they rotate, because that's what they also do in the real life. You copy the last of the keyframe chain, all of them. So you click on the highest here, that selects all, and copy it. And then you can put them, you paste them to the start point of another animation that is close to this one as a starting point. So it seems seamless. This is also the same trick. You copy the first state here to the end of the chain. That will automatically makes it seamless when it starts over again. And the last state of the jump is the first state of the jump idle. The last state, what is also the first of the jump idle, because it is a loop, will be also the first state of the jump one. And the last state of the jump one will again match the first state of the idle. That will be just copied over there. So here, from the idle, the first or last state, because it's both the same, will here be the first and here be the last, because it will blend over then. So how about I show you a bit how we do this. We have a big fox character here, for example, a very toonish one. We have also armature here, we have also pelvis here. So it's like I said, these bone chains. So fox play, and then when we have no animator here, on the fox itself is already an animator. So the question is, we could use this one. This is currently set up for usage in VR. We could also start with a clean one, you know. We would just right click and create an animator controller, and the single animations would be this here, the animation. So we could just create a new folder, char anims, just to make it clean here. I'm the one who needs to understand later where what is. And we could create here the animation fox idle. And then we go in the fox and we look into this animator here. And there is already much set up. Tail swish is, for example, I bet just the tail wagging left to right. We have different expressions already set up. Blink will be kinder none so far. Ah, yeah. So stuff that can make the character blink. Expressions. So right now, it would be easy to make this the default layer and delete the other, because it is not longer driven with anything that the player can do. So the blinking, we could just make ourselves. So we have the blink animation set in this motion slot. And we click on it, and we click on here. And then we see, oh, it is looped. Okay. Loop time is the thing that makes the animation start over once it ended. So again, we look into the avatar and we go to animation and we search for blink. And then we click on this red dot here for record. And then let's see. It's automatically activating the preview of it. And then we play. So this is what the avatar is doing. The avatar is just sometimes blinking. So we can use that already because it's set up. So what do we learn about animations? The pace is important. Blinking, eye movements, that is usually something quick. It is usually something very quick. And so we see it is just here. We need to scroll much to get in here. And we see that it's squinting the eyes and back up. And with those different keyframes here, it also creates kind of a curve. It creates a certain fall off, you could say. And this is definitely also important when we animate. And I will just show you very quickly, very shortly, why this is important to make a good loop. What we do we need to change anything here? So it is a 35 seconds loop, and we can keep it like that. We could like go to here. We could click on the body of this creature and look into the blend shapes, because it's not just the bone structure we could change, but also these drivers here from 0 to 1. These are kind of 0 is no change and 1 is change. And what is changed is, for example, like here we have the mouth open is one of the first, so it would like drop the jaw, because blend shapes are changes of the mesh itself that is modeled in. So the single triangles the mesh is built up from will change with these drivers here. So we could change stuff here, but that doesn't make sense when it comes to the eyes. Eyes usually are balls that are on bones too. So we click on spine, chest, neck, head, and then we have eye left, eye right. Eye left, eye right. I mark both. I click E for rotation. And then let's see. The local is definitely what we need here. So, and I hold control, and then I move. Oh, let's see. La 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 la. That's not working. Ah, it's the eye end. Okay, we can just, it's fine. We just find out how this avatar is working. So we get these two and delete them. Then we close those. And we mark the eyes directly. I keep control down. And then I have iterations. And then I just click back and forth. So we have a keyframe here. Because if I would just move the eyes, then it would start with the center and then would slowly, for 8 seconds, move the eyes there. But we don't want that. Eye movement is quick. So we have here now set that from the beginning until here, nothing happens with the eyes. So I just click back and forth. And then we have short time after, just like, oh, well, what's up there? Maybe there is nothing, but it's a fox, you know? Maybe the bean is just nervous. So we click then here on the beginning state. We copy. We click here. And we set it back. So let's see. Why is that working so well? So let's see. Rotation. We open this here. Okay, there is kind of nothing that changes. We can click here to go to directly the next keyframe. And then we go here. So, what is wrong here? What is the thing that I don't see? Why is it not changing? Is there any constraint on them? Shouldn't be like that. Maybe other stuff is already happening. That could be because when something else is driving the bones, we also can't. So maybe it is not a bad idea to have this animator controller as a backup, but we create a new one. It is more work, but maybe this is already the thing that makes it not working. So if we go here and we create a new animator controller, Fox control, and then we go to the Fox and put in Fox control, and that is of course empty here. So also is kinda not in the relaxed pose we would think it should be. So there are fuzz bones all over the armature. Wow, there's kinda much of them happening here. Also, some of them are not active. I wonder if fuzzbones are even working in worlds. This is something that usually work on avatars. If you want something like that in worlds, you go for dynamic bones. But we will ignore that little thing for now and look why the character is in this motorcycle pose like that. So let's try something. I click on the avatar itself in the FBX, so in the file kinda that sets up the mesh itself, and we go in rig, humanoid, and go here from generic and apply that. None. Apply. Okay, that kinda resetted the avatar. Go to humanoid. Apply. Okay, it automatically does that on humanoid. So we click on the avatar here in the avatar. Configure avatar. So here we have the avatar like it should be. It is all right in the T pose I was just telling about. But here we see it falling to the base where the feet should be. Here it's correct, here it's not. And pose and force T pose. Apply. This is very stubborn. So let's create an empty motion none empty state. So we have something in here. And then we could create eyes. And when we search for blink, that could already be our setup blinking. Yep. It is. It is the blinking. Eyes closed. Wow, and now the maw is slightly opening and we don't know why. So everything is a bit broken here. The wood is a bit tedious when I want to show you stuff. We have the T-pose here. How about we try this? What is not working, it seems. Oh, interesting. Well, it is doing what I wanted. So it's a pre-animated T-pose, it seems. The scale we could kill because it would be a bigger character. So, well, if it works, it works, you know. We keep it like that. I found a T-pose and we put it to the standard. Close the snoot or flies will fly in. I don't know. So we have now also the eyes animated. yeah, the layer will overlap themselves. So if we go back to the T-pose, we could like animate a chest left, right. Phew. If we copy that, over to a new animation, char anims, create, let's open stand, set the weight to 1, and put fox idle in here, and fox idle. We'll start with the freaking T-pose, because it's always a good start. So let's think that the avatar is standing. So we are now in animation mode, and now we have to tweak this T-pose for a good starting pose. So we have spine, chest, the collarbones, sometimes say collarbones, some put shoulders in there, it doesn't matter, it's kind of the same. So here the collarbones shouldn't move too much, yeah, so they can hang a bit. Usually they should move too much. So arms would kinda hang more. Something is very much weird today here. Ah, I understand. Because there are now 2 layers telling different things. We say let your arms fall, and the thing here still says we're still in T-pose, aren't we? If I drag and drop my prefab in here of that fox, then it works just fine, and I really don't understand why this is doing. We can definitely also take this as a learning that when you do anything, you often run into issues and you will never know why. You should better get used to that, because that's just how 3D work kinda works. So we unpack this completely so we have full control over everything. So we just delete scripts that are not working here, because this is a totally different situation here. So then we just scale this bean up again. We have a big fox here again. I guess this is kind of about the size, the former size. And we just put it back here where it was. Now it's standing again, like it should. And I changed nothing. What is a bit confusing, but who am I? It's working now. So we have the FX here. We had just the blinking. Blink. Ha! And we fall back into this position. But just doing the preview, I totally don't understand what's happening here. Box control. I would delete the T-pose and make just an empty state with nothing in. So we don't confuse the whole thing. Animations blink. I totally don't understand what's happening here. So what I just have done is that I set the humanoid to generic. Maybe Unity bugs around because there are some bones not exactly like they should be. For example, if you have a digitigrade even, then you would have another bone down here that is not longer humanoid. So we just don't let Unity expect a humanoid base here. We just say it's generic. I forced T-pose, and then I set it to generic. When I now click in animation, then it's not falling into this stupid biker pose anymore. Now also this happens. He's quickly looking up where he set it. So everything should be killed now. Putting everything else didn't work. There are multiple steps you can usually do when stuff like that happens. And what helped was just kill a humanoid in the rig itself. Yeah, but that's just how how life works when you do such stuff. You often run into problems and you ask yourself, why is the engine doing that? And no one will ever be able to tell you. It's definitely part of the fun. So now we have just this, but no one would look like that. Someone would keep the eyes there, and then for a bit, and then, you know, maybe slightly changing, then maybe looking to the other side, and instantly looking back. That would be something. Let's just copy this over. Let's see how this looks. So just looking around like that, because eyes are usually very quick. And depending on how nervous the person is, would do that more often or less often. You could just you know, do this. Then we make the person look down a bit, and then we just, after a bit, copy that over, going back to the standard position, you know, it's like that. So that just makes everything a bit more vivid. And something we could also drag in here would be something like fox's ears. So we go ears root, ear. Just take the left ear and let's look. Okay, so I would say we don't need the first bone, but the second and the third. So sometimes ears might twitch. Let's do it with both. And the third. Because that is also a quick movement. So we set here and we mark the second. We flop over the third. We flop over. If I would be in Blender here, I would say it should be moved by individual origins. But because we are not there, it is a bit more tedious. But It will work. It will work. Oh, that is very quick. That may be a bit too quick. Ears are quick, but not that quick. That's better. Zip. Usually you always will search for reference, you know? You can always make it better, make it more realistic. Let's, for example, see if we back here could do something like the nose here, you know? Here, let's just put here a frame like wiggle, 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 and look how that looks. Okay, that looks funny. Very movable snoot, I would say. Maybe this is not what we are aiming for. Maybe it's more this here. And then we move it to the one side. And to the other side. And back. So that not the whole jaw. Yeah, a little wiggle with the nose, like sniff, sniff, you know. It's just helping to make the whole character more lively. Okay, then we have the whiskers here. While that happens, maybe the whiskers would also react to this. So when the nose goes here, maybe these whiskers would go up and the others would go down a bit. In the other direction, the same. Whiskers would go up here and would go down now here. And here we just copy what it was before, set it in here, and now looks better. Yeah, and these little things is it that makes the character more realistic. But now I said also that I wanted to show you something different. When we have the idle, so now it's just okay. So when we animate, then we could need a helper. What do I mean with that? We see where the person's standing now. Let's just give some room. And let's think about, imagine we have something set up like 3D object, sphere. And this is foot 1. So where the person is standing, where is it? Okay, up there. I get to the ground and I do Control Shift F. Then the sphere is where the camera position is. Now I just set this sphere where the foot is so that we always have a reference out of the avatar where the foot was on start, so that it's not gliding over the floor while we do animation work. So, like an egg. But now we have, this is kind of a helper, yeah? This is a helper keeping us informed where we started. Now we duplicate that over to the other foot. Maybe you think that doesn't make sense, but just let me show you. So now we know where the feet were kind of aligned to. Imagine he needs to bend over. Then we have something like we animate it and we look for example in the spine, and he will, you see what happens. He will bend over a bit, and the upper legs needs to get back to the position from before. Back to the position. So that also means that the whole armature now needs to go down to be back to this position on the floor. This is, for example, the Unity animation system is definitely not the best. And if you can do the animation somewhere else, yes, please do it. Maybe even directly in Blender or so. That would always be less janky than here. But for now, we do our best. What we can do here. So we have the upper right arm. Maybe he's just holding onto this arc here. The collarbone might be also a bit like that. Just to hold onto this pillar here, because why not? So maybe the whole spine would be then a bit shifted towards the point where he's holding on. You always have to think about how would make that sense in real life, and then tweak from there. So now we go into the hand like that, and then we go into the thumb. Now you understand why stuff like that always takes eternity. Because you can always tweak and think, doesn't look very right. Need to tweak more. So here are the 3 fingers. Grab. Now he's holding on there. Also, he's looking maybe a bit mischievously into the room. Mischievously, that means we go into the body blend shapes and look for some basic expressions. So we have here sly eyes, mischievously. Right and left eye. Oh, that's kind of cute. I don't know if we need that. We can also always delete keyframe lines that we don't need. Angry, sad, closed, eyes up, DreamWorks face. What is that? I don't think we need that. A bit of a smile, why not? Yeah. Foxes are always cheeky, I think. So, upper arm. I mean, it's not a grandpa, so he don't need to hold onto this pillar too. So we could just say, like, it's grabbing its own hip or something like that. So collarbone a bit up, lower arm like that. the upper arm. Always think the collarbone or the shoulder is usually not rotating much. The arms are doing the work. So otherwise it would look like twigs are breaking. So let's just move that arm like that. And onto the hip. So why do I say why did I say that a loop is always, let's say we scroll out to a second. Now we have a second here, and I take all that. Now we have all the bones. If you update stuff and there are new points coming up on the beginning, this is fine. Just copy it over. So copy, and we say our loop should be about 10 seconds, maybe. The pose don't need to be longer than that, I guess. So we copy it over here. Let's see. The whole thing copy over. So now when we would say in the middle of everything, he would just, let's just do a little change, like he is like shifting over here. But the arm keeps where it is. Okay, let's not do that. Let's say the spine is moving over here. And the arm, according to that, also moves a bit up because it still should be in the same position. Yeah, more or less. Think also about that the lower arm is limited. You have an elbow here. This is not very natural to do something like that. Elbows usually just move in this direction. So always think about what is the range of the bone that I'm grabbing. Like that. Now the thumb is a bit unlucky here. Like that. So we shifted his weight a bit, because usually we always shift our weight here and there, because it would be not very cozy to keep our pose forever. So the upper arm here could come down a bit. No, like that. So he would just move a little bit, yeah? Just a little bit. It will, until an animation looks fine, it takes hours. I tell you straightforward, it takes hours. You can refine and refine and refine. Usually you block out what you want to achieve. So the start pose, what is then the beginning of a loop. Also, fix points in between where you want to aim for, and then you have in between to do blending. Like, oh, on this position here, maybe there is, with the hands, a pose where it glitches in a position you don't want to, you know. We can look here. In this case, look, what's happening here? So you always need to adjust, okay, the arm a bit back here, doing this, doing that, you know. You always need to make sure. In this case, it is very easy what's happening here, because we did something that was not set up in the beginning, the lower arm. So we copy this, and then we put it here too, so it's rescued. Yeah, so this is easy, but sometimes it clips through because of the transition that can be long, is not working with the surroundings, and then you have like, oh, this one a bit backwards and stuff like that, you know? And if you have a loop, you mark the beginning and the start, and then you right-click both tangents linear. That means that when I go to our character animations, Fox idle, loop time, back in the animation, and then it is animated. Fox, always the character needs to be activated, you know, clicked on what we are currently in. Like that. And you see that it is now seamless because it's linearly going over. So no damping, no fall-offs, no weird curves. That makes a loop animation working. So this is, I mean, in some old games, that would be everything that an avatar would do, you know? Also, you have to know that still we would also have this going on in the face. So there would also be movement in the face because these are all layers, you know? These are layers. So now the nose wiggle. This is the eyes. Now the nose wiggle. So this also will be layered on top because in the animator we have the eyes that always blink as a loop. And we have the stand that now is this idle in the loop. And I make like a tail wag. And then I can animate the tail and that will be layered. Then we can make the tail more animated. This all serves that the character is believable, is animated, is alive. And if you want to achieve good animations, it will, I can tell you, you can just work a full day just that the character stands there in a believable way. So if you want to animate your stuff, just plan holidays. Definitely. I'm just honest with you. So here, when we, for example, watch Anubis in his idle, here I don't use layers because this Anubis has not so many bones like the fox here. You know, even the eyes are just printed on the face, so it's way easier. But still look into this list here of stuff happening, And this just takes time. Sometimes it doesn't look good, then you do it again. Here with the jump, for example, the bean has to grab the throne and then push it away, and it will make the jump attack like on Palworld. So going up in the air, standing there a bit, and then going down with some earth stuff I made in Blender. And also when going back, all the fabrics here are animated so that the bean is like making this nice back jump here, like in Chinese kung fu movies, whew. And for example, when he's getting off of the throne, you see that he's not just flying away from the throne, but he grabs the lean, the armrest, and he pushes himself. It can be even better, when we go here, for example, and we search for, you see how much that is. So we go here for the foot, right? Why is here such an offset? Pivot, center, pivot, something I don't like on this one. Why is it always down there? I'm not happy today with Unity, definitely. So There is the base. This is true. This should be... So he knows everything is on the base here now, on the origin of the character. Why is everything on the base? Gizmo. What is happening here? Way too many problems today. So I just restarted Unity. I saved, I exited, I restarted. Now, when we click on objects, this gizmo here is back where it was. It was a bug. It is a Unity bug. So if you're an ongoing developer, have fun in future. This is your life now. Yeah, because usually these arrows is just the X, Y, Z axis in 3D space. Left, right, forward, backward, upward, downward. It is also with the camera here in the corner, and this here in the corner usually activates, deactivates more gizmos in the scene. This all here is called gizmos, and gizmos are usually things like, here is a post-process volume at start, there is a sound, there is a particle effect, you know, here is a reflection probe, there is a sound effect, there are UI elements. So these things here are light sources on the not burning torches right now. So these gizmos usually tell you something about where you place stuff that is usually invisible. You can't see particles when they are not active. You can't see sounds. You can't see those reflection probes or something like that. So those keep, yeah, just a little overview. Let's see. We go back in the jump and in the record. And now we go in the right foot, because what I wanted to tell you is that usually, so that is the thigh, you always need to see that before a character can do a motion, it has kind of something that shows you that this motion will happen. If you maybe when a character hits, then usually it swings back first, so it creates some kind of force. So when this person here will just jump from that throne here, you know, then here in this moment, it should look like it needs some force to jump. So we could bend this a bit up, this a bit down, to create more the feeling, you know, that some force is happening here. So he just aimed for grip, and then on the next keyframe, okay, this is way too quick here happening. So we scroll a bit in. So now we just bend the foot more to create this effect of there is some force happening here. So we can now bend the whole thigh more. So up. See, this is not working. So here needs to be there. These are just minor little things. So here now, the whole thigh should be like, you know, then we just make this more even. That indeed there is just force created to make this jump possible, even though it might be a person with superhuman strength or so, but everything is kind of still applying some basic physics, you know. We could just use here the position so that the movement is more like from here and not just like up and there, but just more in a straight line. So maybe more like that. It's very quick. Maybe we will just grab all that and then we just stretch the whole animation here a bit, so it's not that heckin' quick. So let's see how does it look when. Okay. Yeah, maybe the whole pacing is wrong, maybe. So we need to tweak more then. You know, like we go in for this jump. So the curve is not correct. So it should be there. Okay. So could say that this could be here, so we have more time to build that up. There is a little pinch in this curve. So we start kinda also we see another problem here. The fabrics are not working anymore. So here we need to grab for the right fabric, yeah, and bend this a bit because of the leg is in the way. Here it can then fall back a bit with the wind, yeah, because jumping. And this is what you will do for hours and hours and hours. You will tweak until it looks fine. But this is at least a little yeah, a little glimpse into how animations work. Like I said, I don't learn that professionally. I just do it. So this here, I want to also there not intersect with the leg, so it looks better. So here it then can move a bit back because of the wind when it's jumping forward. So maybe should indeed go a bit higher. The curve is just too and there is like a roll in the air that is not I mean, who could jump like that in real life, you know? Then you have this standing pose here that is just the kung fu style before like crushing down for the attack. But yeah, I'm just fidgeting around here a bit. But yeah, that's how you animate, you know. We learned that it is much of work, that you need to fidget until it's right. You have just some key points here and you will blend between, that something like this will help to keep the paws or feet in place when the character is shifting weight and you move the pelvis. And also we learned that how to create a loop, that when we have a loop, the ending should be the beginning and the tangents should be linear, and then you blend in between. You make in the middle should be like a different pose, and then start pose, end pose, and back to start pose, end pose, and back to start pose. And in between you can do more fancy stuff. The neck might tilt, there might be a grin, and back to a normal face. Just bring different movements in, so the avatar looks more interesting. And if you're done with something like that, for example, this creature here will create noise, when jumping off, a jump sound. The fabrics here would like do fabric sounds. When it crashes down would be an earthy, So, and how do you do that? Yeah, well, that's easier than you might think. On the jump, we would just like here wait for the and where is he hitting the ground? Voomp, here in this moment. Then we click here on this little thing, add event, and then there is an event, and that can be different stuff. No function selected so far, but here you would add stuff. For example, scripts would work here. So on Anubis, we would set here, in this case for VR, a behavior, and then we can use this behavior because that's a script. Properties, methods, we go down the methods, and then we have send custom event, and then you call it impact. So, and then in this script needs to be the event impact, and that will then refer to an audio source. For example, also you can use it to create particles here of dust and more. So the animations might just be a few seconds when you're done, but you work 20 hours on it. That can happen. Because now the sounds, I would go into an audio program, I look for sounds, I mix them, I change the pitch, whatever, so it matches. So when one avatar is just moving a bit in a world, that can be a full workday easily. Yeah. I hope it was kind of helpful. So have fun, like always. Hey, back here. The other stuff I recorded 5 months ago. Yeah, sometimes it just takes time, huh? And I just learned in the meantime how to properly animate eyes. I mean, how to animate them better than I did before. You see here a Yoshi that has also like an idle animation. And here the eyes are animated. And there is stuff happening that I just want to share with you, if kind of as a thank you for making it up to here, because the attention span of people are getting tighter and tighter. So very, very much thank you if you're still here. Just write in the comments if you're still watching this after more than an hour here. Then I'm very proud of you. I already taught you in the video that eye movements are quick, and I'm definitely I was a bit embarrassed about how much stuff went wrong, and so often the solution is just like re-importing your model or restarting Unity. That is just so annoying, but yeah. So of course you see here it is quick, just a little. So blinking is quick, but there is more stuff happening. Look at this. And I learned that just recently. The pupils, and with the pupils, of course, the iris around, is moving a bit down because gets pushed down a bit by the upper lid because there is friction between the lid and the eye. So if you blink, you usually look a bit more down for just a little digit of a second and then back up just a little bit. Also, when the eyes are closed, it is dark. And in darkness, pupils usually expand. And on light, they get smaller again. So I made it here just because it was able on this avatar. Not every model has that. That I made the pupils a bit bigger when it gets dark, and then you see they are darker. They are wider now, and then see that, and then they get tighter again. They kinda adapt to the surrounding. This is a very subtle thing that is totally not needed. But in general, mixed with other of those so-called micro expressions, it is just a little bit of extra mile that makes stuff more realistic. Yeah. And because I recorded the other stuff, like, nearly half a year ago, you're constantly learning those little things. And so I just thought that I will add that. So, see you in another video.